Hello, hello. Melissa May Dillon here on my personal page, and then generally we go live on or upload it to the YouTube channel. So I have made a stir. I think my intended effects were more effective than I intended. And I actually I wasn't planning necessarily to go live yet, but I received enough messages that I felt it was time to talk about this. I had a feeling that if I began poking at fear, um, that we can do some magic. So I decided to poke at one of the biggest fears I see people living with, and because of that fear, they do not live their authentic life. And that is the fear of being a fraud. And I think Becca Martin, so on my Facebook page, late last night around 10 p.m., I just posted, I am a fraud. And I haven't responded to any of the comments. In fact, I've been off of Facebook pretty much because I have a lot of work to do. But I was actually intending to just kind of like stay off for a minute and just invoke, like, the fear is already there. People have this fear within them. I just wanted to poke at it. And I realized, like, I'm meant to poke things. I do trigger quite a lot of people. And I was like, I want to poke at this fear. I want to address this fear. I want to dispel this fear. I want to remove the power of this fear that people have. And so I made a post that said, I am a fraud. And I just put it out there to see what was happening, to poke at this fear that we have of being a fraud that prevents us from living our authentic life. And the comment that stuck out the most, I mean, oh my gosh, you guys have made beautiful comments, and I'm going to address each one of them. You guys are so lovely and amazing. And how incredible that, like, when I say something like this, like, my page gets flooded with people who are like, no, you're crazy. We love you. And thinking that I'm hacked because there's no way that this could be Melissa, right? But Becca Martin said it. I think she hit the nail on the head with the point that I'm making here. And I'm sorry if I stirred within you fear. But again, I want to remove it. Now acknowledge the fear you have, and let's remove it. So she said, we're all frauds. None of us know what we're doing, and we're all making it up as we go along. And that's honestly, like, kind of my point. I was thinking about, like, the messiness of humans. And so I'm in this Telegram group with some people, and we're talking about owning your voice. And there's such a big fear about, if I own my voice, because not just owning my voice doesn't just mean I speak up, but it also means that I say things that people may not agree with. I'm going to say things that are true to me, that I feel passionate about, that I think we need to talk about, and other people will not agree, and they will cancel me. And I'll be a part of the cancel culture. And we have this deep need to be connected in a group. Like physically, biologically, as humans, we had to survive in packs and in communities. Like, if you were just a human all by yourself out in the wilderness, you're not likely to survive very long, or it's going to be a very tough life for you if you do survive. Watch Castaway as an example of that. Tom Hanks, very good movie. What's oh my God, now I'm going to distract myself. What's the ball's name? Wilson! Such a good movie. But as humans, we have this need that the group must accept us in order for us to be okay. The group must accept us in order for us to be able to be alive and to survive. And so the fear of going against the group, or the fear of saying something that, most people generally don't accept, terrifies us, and it prevents us from living our truth and our authentic self. So that's like one piece of the puzzle, is like, we are afraid of saying something that would cause a large amount of people to not like us and or to cancel us and or to say that we are wrong and bad. And so we hide what we feel is true or authentic to us so that we can stay a part of the collective group. That is something we need to work on. That is something that it is no longer necessary for us to deny our truth. And there's so much fear, like, oh my gosh, I was listening to this podcast about like the Salem witch trials and how the church was basically like I've recently just admitted that I have magical powers, that I am I'm going to say it wrong, cognis claircognizant. Claircognizant is where we just get this clear knowing. We receive from God, from source, whatever, insight, and we just know the truth about something, or we know a detail about a person, even though there's no logical path for us to know that. And like I hear people's questions in my head. I know what information people are seeking for. I know what people are asking. And so I can just spit knowledge out of my mouth without understanding how I have that knowledge, but that knowledge is true and accurate for the person I'm talking to or listening to or whatever. There are people who have gifts who can hear things. There are people who like see the future. There's people who can do all kinds of, like my sister can tap into a person and like understand how they're feeling. There's people who can like see people glowing with different energies. Like we actually have all kinds of wonderful, amazing power. But the church didn't want people to have their own power. They wanted to be able, the church and the kings wanted to be able to subjugate all the people. Like, like the Lord of the Rings is like a real story. Like there was elves and there was magical beings and there was all these things, and the humans come along and they say, we don't like magic because we have a hard time with it. And so we're going to just knock out everything that's magical. And we're going to knock out, humans' abilities to know that they are magical. And we're going to do it by killing and torturing them until all existence of humans admitting that they're magical disappears. We did it to the Native Americans. We did it in the Salem witch trials. And we are I was listening to this podcast, this beautiful podcast. I think it's called the Higher Self Podcast. And she was interviewing a woman who calls herself a witch and who actually wears a witch's hat. And like the word witch is just wisdom. Like that's like wizard and witch just comes like wisdom. And she was talking about how like they would just pick a woman that they didn't like and they would torture her so greatly that she would spout off another woman's name just so that she could have some relief. And then as soon as she said that woman's name, like it was like knowing another woman's name was even dangerous, because anybody being tortured enough, if they know someone's name, they could say it like, oh, she's a witch too. And then we get to torture her. And it was like this whole like shroud of fear and power that these people were exerting on anyone who didn't exactly conform to the way they wanted you to behave and you wanted to be. And so like we have this deeply instilled fear in our bodies from generations past of like not being able to speak our true and authentic self, because if you go against the group, if you go against the people who are in power, you can be killed, you can be separated, you could be thrown apart, you're thrown away from the group and not taken care of. And like we've got to be able to remove that fear. We've got to be able to get rid of that. And so my post is like part of like digging at that. The other part of that is I am a fraud. So one of the people in the group talked about they want to be coaches, right? They want to be able to help other people, similar to what I'm doing. Like I want to be able to help other people in their life journey. And if I sit here and say, well, there are parts of my life journey that were not so great. There's decisions that I've made in my life that were not so great. There were relationships that I've been in, decisions that I've done, money that I've spent. I have a long history of things, of choices, of decisions that were not so great. And if I choose to take those things to indicate why I cannot help people, then that's a disservice to the people that I can help. Because a part of coaching, a part of saying I can help another human is saying I used to make decisions that were not great, or I used to do things that were not awesome. And then I learned how to not do those things, how to do better things. And now I want to share with people my journey of that. That's essentially what coaching is. Personal development, coaching another human, right? So many people can feel like a fraud because they, in the past, have not made the best decisions. And it's this common theme that I hear, like, who am I to coach people when my past looks like that? And I'm like, that's exactly why you're the person to coach people, because your past looks like that and your current reality looks like this. And there are people with that past who want your current reality. And you know the map on how to get there. You know the way in what they can do, what they can say, how they can fix their energies, what books they can read. Like, you know the path of getting them from a person who made not awesome decisions to a person who is making much better decisions. You know the path of a person who was living an awful life to is now living a great life, right? Like, we can feel like a fraud sometimes because we have a history, because we have things in our past that we're not necessarily 100% proud of. And so if we decide that we can't share our truth and our knowledge now because we have a history, if we make our history more important than our present, then we're doing a disservice to the people who could use the knowledge we have on how we got ourselves to our present time. Like, I wanted to stir the pot, and I did. I wanted to wake you up to this fear. And I was genuinely curious to see if anybody was like, yes, you are a fraud. I knew it. And I bet you there are some people who are like watching and waiting till, I know there's at least one that are like watching and waiting to see, like, oh, I can't wait to watch her crumble and fall. I can't wait to see how all of this is exposed, because they can't believe that there can be goodness in another person or success in another person. And they use it as an excuse as to why they haven't either. They're using someone else. Like that was another theme I felt occurring in this group. If someone is successful in making money, they did it connivingly. They did it evilly. They did it abusing other people. There's no way a person can be successful and make money like that if they didn't do something scammy. Right? That's another way that we block ourselves from wealth and abundance, is by believing the only way to have success like that is by scamming other people. And so I wanted to poke in at that fear. I wanted to dig that up. So what I want you to do is ask yourself, if you saw my post and it made you feel a certain way, start digging. Start digging into it, because all I did was mirror back to you something you have within yourself. And if you were a person who went on my post and were like, oh my God, Melissa, no, you're not, you're amazing. Can you feed that to yourself? Are you talking like that to yourself? Or are you giving into your fear of whatever it may be, looking like a fraud, of being afraid of what you have in your past? Do you understand, like, self-love? This is a whole topic that I want to get into. And like how to explain this. I have very awful things in my past. And in fact, I made a video before. I've made a lot of videos. But I made this video back in like 2013 where I was reading the book, You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Live an Awesome Life. I forget the exact title, by Jen Sincero. And I made this video, little young Melissa, 2013, 2014 era, made this video that said, I feel like if people really knew me, then they wouldn't love me, that they couldn't love me, that there's no way that they could love me if they knew some of the things I've done or said or been through or whatever, that it's impossible for people to truly love me, that there is a darkness within me. And if they understood that darkness or knew that darkness, then they'd be like, oh my God, this is Melissa, a throwaway human, put her in the trash can. Let's not deal with her ever again. That's essentially how I felt, because of different things that had happened in my life and in my past. I have not made every great, amazing decision. I have messed up horribly many times, in many ways, many relationships with many people, many different ways. I have said awful things to another human, many different humans. I have been mean. I have been angry. I have been almost evil in my words, because I learned, as a child, that words can be a weapon you use to cut other people down. That's how I learned to survive in my family. You use words. If other people are coming at you and you're afraid of them or bothered by them or something, you say something that would trigger them to like shut down. Like you say something so deeply at their core that it would cause them to, stop coming at you or whatever. I use my words as a weapon. I use my words to cut other people down. And if I and yet I love myself. And this is why I am such a bright light to other people, because like true self-love, like people can really struggle with self-love because true self-love is when you accept all those things about yourself and you've made peace with that and you love yourself regardless. And that's when you shine super extra bright. And when you're shining super extra bright, it is very blinding to the people who still cannot forgive themselves. So like the people who are bothered by me or don't like what I'm saying, and I'm not saying you have to like me. You cannot like me. I don't care. But like if like there are people, and I because I've done this too. I've watched other people, like before I was really fully in tune with my self-love journey and like accepting who and owning who I am, all the good and all the bad. I would watch other people and I'd be like, you're so full of themselves. Like we know they got pimples on their butt. Why are they acting like they're, Jesus or whatever, and now I know that people feel that same way about me. And I'm not saying all people, but I know there's a handful of people, but you keep watching, like you can't stop because you just keep watching. And you can't let go because there's some truth in here, and there's something that your soul is aching for. And it's like, you're mad at me, but you can't stop watching. You can't not look. And it's like a moth to a flame. Like it's going to burn the heck out of you to come close to my light. My light is very bright. My light is exceedingly bright, especially to the people in my past that I have hurt, and they know that I have made awful decisions, and yet I sit here today proclaiming that I'm an amazing freaking person, that I have impact and influence all over the world, and that I am here to help people live amazing lives. It spurns them because they have seen this side of me that wasn't awesome and wasn't great. But I know that humans are so freaking messy. I accept that. I accept that we are so messy. We are not just one person. Like we are like a million people. Like I want you to understand, like when I talk to a person at the grocery store, I am not the same person who talks to my husband. I am not the same person who talks to my mom. I am not the same person who talks to my best friend. I'm not the same person who talks to my daughter. We have this idea that we can only be like one thing, one set person. But the truth is like we are extremely multifaceted. Like I think about like the eye of a fly, like they have one eye, but it's like got thousands of like little angles of which they can look. Like humans are disco balls, right? We're disco balls. We show up differently to every different person. You can't tell me you're the same person no matter what. Because if you tell me you're the same person no matter what, when your husband tickles you versus when your mom tickles you, you're going to have a different reaction. You are not the same person no matter what. You are different people in front of different people, but you are the same oneness that is you. And like accepting that I am all of these things as one thing, that's where self-love comes in. That's where I understand I've made decisions I don't love. I've done things I don't love. I am different people in front of different people, but it's still me. And like, I own that so hardcore, it really shatters other people's worlds. Like it shakes them. It bothers them. They can't stand it. That I can sit here and fully love and accept myself and lead other people to fully love and accept themselves, and lead other people to say, I get to have amazing lives no matter what was in my past, no matter what was done or has been done. I can still have a good life. I can still love myself. because we have to understand there's so many different versions of us, and life is so messy. Like I think about like somebody who has let's say you're a relationship coach. So you're a relationship coach. You talk about how to have amazing relationships. But does that mean that like everything is like chef's kiss between you and your partner? No, life is messy. You're going to have a day where you and your partner go at it for some stupid reason or whatever. But does that make them a fraud? That not every single moment of their life is utterly chef's kiss between them and their partner? No, we all get a butt pimple here and there. We all have something. Like it's that's another thing about this fraud is like this expectation of like you're always perfect. You're always perfect. And this is why people hesitate to do what it is they want to do. This is why people hesitate at taking action at building their business or whatever, is they think they have to be perfect. But you will not ever be perfect. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Okay? There will always be something along the road. There will always be something along the way. It's about how you handle that situation, how you move from that situation, how you treat yourself with grace through that situation. That matters. We've got to like let go of this fear of I'm not 100% perfect and therefore I am a fraud if I try to say, or if I try to sell my services, or I try to teach people about stuff, right? Like, again, if you've had past relationships that have been difficult and hard, and then you try to coach people on relationships, your past boyfriend, girlfriend may be like, who the hell are you to say anything? Be like, well, I'm a grown and evolved version of me. The person I am now is not the person you used to know. And if you're growing and evolving, you would understand that. But you choose to stay in the past, not me. The past is my opportunity to learn something. And here's what I learned. And now I'm coaching people to learn what I learned so that they can go from where they were to where they want to be. The coaching industry, personal development is just an opportunity for people to say, I was where you were. Here's what I did to be where I am now. If you would like the same journey, if you would like to go from that situation to this situation, follow along with me. I got a course, I got a book, I got whatever it is. I can show you how I took this journey. People want a journey. And like all the heroes, right? Like when we read the books and the Harry Potters and all the things, like the person in the story has a history too. It doesn't make them a fraud. It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make them bad. We understand that it's part of the story. And I love so much how like Disney is like doing all the backstories of the villains. And now like we feel sadness for the villains. Like we're like, oh my God, look at their backstory. Like when you look at Maleficent, we just saw her as like the Wicked Witch. Well, why is she the Wicked Witch? What is her history? What happened there? And it's like digging into that, the past of who we are and understanding where we come from. It's not, your past is not to solidify who you are. Your past is to say, look what I've grown from. Look where I've come from. And yet here I am now. Like, that's amazing. Like, that journey is amazing. So I know I may have bothered you or hurt you. I wanted to poke at your fear. And I wanted to also show you, I wanted to go first. I wanted to show you what it's like to express a big fear. And look what happened. Look how many people came in to be like, oh my gosh, you're awesome, right? It just like, no, Melissa, don't think that. Like some people were so worried. And I love you so much. Thank you. And all the people, like, it's funny too, like certain people didn't feel comfortable texting me, so they texted other people. Like I caused quite a stir. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I would love to stir more, and I'm going to stir more. Okay. If you want to wake up, if you truly want to be a creator of your life, if you truly want to do the things you want to do without fear and hesitation, that's what I'm all about. And so I wanted to poke at this fear that we're a fraud. I wanted to poke at this fear that we can be canceled by other people. I wanted to poke at this fear that we're not allowed to talk about how much better our life is from where it was because people in the past could point out that we used to be the people of the past. That's okay. Bring up my past. See how clearly different I am today. See that there can be growth and evolution, and invite yourself to that same journey of growth and evolution. Invite yourself. If I can grow and evolve from the awful things that I've done, the awful things that I've said, controlling, manipulating, I did not make the best decisions. I did not say the right things. I have hurt many people along my path. In fact, even as a school teacher, like the things I used to say to kids to get them to sit down and shut up and listen to me, I have to make peace with that's the kind of person I was. I have to make peace with that. That I used to control and manipulate children so that they would sit down and be quiet so that I could teach. I have to live with that. But does that mean that I'm not allowed to inspire people now? That I'm not allowed to teach people now? Well, sorry, I can't help you because there was a time where I was a mean and evil teacher who made kids cry. No, I want to show you, look, I used to be a mean and evil teacher who made kids cry, and now I make people cry out of celebrations because they're moving into the best careers they've ever had. If I can go on this journey, if I can go from that person to this person, what kind of journey can you go on? What kind of growth can you have? What kind of evolution can you experience? That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I want people to be empowered within themselves. I want people to forgive themselves for everything they've done and experienced in their path. Own it. It is what it is. Now grow and evolve. Now you get to grow and evolve. Now you get to choose. Now you get to have an awareness that I was programmed and conditioned, and I no longer have to be a part of that. Like when I think about it, like I think about The Handmaid's Tale, and you think about all the aunties. What was her? I forget her exact name, but the main one. Like we got to see a little bit of her backstory and why she was like that. Like I feel like I was, as a teacher, I was part of the system that conditioned people. A big part of it. School is a ample ground, like it is meant to program and condition children to think and believe certain things. And I was a part of that system. Like there's a meme that goes around, like it's like this wood with like sticks and trees and leaves, and it's like this little kid, like the little kid is like this thing, and like you send it to school and we cut it down and we remove it, or like we clip its wings, like I'm not describing that meme very well, but it's like I was a part of the system that programmed and conditioned the future generations of America so that they would listen to authority and not question and just do what they are told. I was a part of that system, a big part of that system. I have to make peace with that. All I can do now is heal, move forward, grow and evolve, and try to spurn other people to break out of their conditioning, to break out of their programming. I invite you on that journey. I invite you to come with me. I invite you to face your fears and move forward. There's been a big part of me that has still felt like a fraud in many ways, because I'm not perfect, because I'm a messy human, because life, okay? Like, yeah, I talk about it's so easy to have a business as a woman and be a mom at the same time. Do you think every day feels great and amazing when I have to choose between business and being a mom? No. There's times where it's sucky. There's times where I don't like it. But the overall theme of my life, being able to run a business and have my baby, is awesome. But if I choose the few moments where it's a struggle to set the tone for everything, then I'm playing to lose. Melanie, oh my God, the Mirror Masterclass. I don't know if I think it's still available for purchase or it just ended or something, but gosh, she talks about playing to lose versus playing to win. And so many of us are playing not to lose versus playing to win. So many of us play not to lose. instead of playing to win. I used to play not to lose. Now I play to win. I'm going at this to win. And every decision I make, no matter how difficult, no matter how hard, is playing to win. She's adding another day of Q&A. Oh, that's amazing. So it may still be open for purchase. I can drop a link. I have an affiliate. It's awesome. I highly recommend Melanie Ann Layer. It's one of the places that I've gone to grow and evolve. She's the one who says growth and evolution over a lifetime. A lot of what I spit out of my mouth will be coming from Melanie Ann Layer because she's in my earbud almost all the time. I'm always listening to her teachings. I've signed up for her year-long program so I can listen to everything she's got going on, hear everything that she has to say. I love the growth and evolution that she's had. I love the way she breaks down and shares her wisdom. I love the way that she speaks about it in such a loving and passionate way. And I love to listen to her, and I will often, I listen to her, I'm inspired to teach. I listen to her, I'm inspired to teach. And I am all about her mission of making a million millionaires. I'm one of the millionaires that she's made. She had a mission. I want to help a million people become millionaires. I'm one of them. And I will further that mission. And I will tell people that they get to have fun and amazing and awesome lives, no matter what their past was. And that, yes, it'll be messy. And yes, there will be moments that kind of suck. But that doesn't mean that you're a fraud. And that doesn't mean that you can't keep having an amazing life and keep shining your light bright. Because of how low I've gone as a human in some of the decisions that I have made. And I can make peace with that. And I love myself, the brighter I shine. I shine so bright. My story is my light. And I am here to shine. And I want my light to activate your light. I want my light to give you permission that you're allowed to shine, that you can make peace with your past. And there's nothing that can hold you back from loving your life today. There's nothing that can hold you back other than yourself. You're the only one who is preventing yourself from being able to live a life that you love. It's just you. So when you decide to move out of your way, then you can live a life that you're in love with. And in order to live a life that you're in love with, you have to live a life that you're in love with. It seems pretty simple. Start loving your life. Start loving every little thing that you can about your life. Change the trajectory. Most of us wake up and start complaining about our life, and so we find more life to complain about. But if you can wake up and start loving your life, you can switch the momentum and you can start finding more things that you love about your life. Not every day will be peaches and cream. Not every day is going to be perfect chef's kiss, a moment of Instagram, a perfect, whatever. Like when you see, like even Melanie talks about, she's like, yeah, Facebook is like, you have like, 24 hours in a day, maybe 16 of them being awake or whatever. You post a couple of moments in your day and to other people, it looks like you have a perfect fucking life. But are those moments everything? No. But like you can make, if those become the focus of your life, then you get more of them and more of them as you continue to live. Some people will assume that you're absolutely perfect, and that's on them. I know Melanie gets butt pimples. I know that she probably has little fits and spats and arguments with Kevin or her boyfriend or her fiance. Like, I know she's not perfect. Like, but we tend to put people up on this pedestal and think they're so perfect and think that we're so far away from them and that it's impossible. Part of me saying I was a fraud is, take me off the pedestal a little bit. See that you can, that like I'm not above you. And there are, I did find some people who were afraid to interact with me at a certain point because they're like, oh, it's Melissa. You can own your life and your journey and your self-love because I know I have. And in everything that I do and everything that I teach, everything about who I am, especially that I present online, is all about that you can own your life, you can love your life despite your past, despite who's hurt you, despite the abuses you've experienced, despite who it was that you experienced it from. Not everybody gets a perfect family. Not everybody gets a perfect mother. Not everybody gets a perfect father. Some of us are dealt not the best cards. But that's your life. Are you going to let that story own your life? Or are you going to write a new story? Are you going to be the author of your story? Are you going to choose how it goes from now on? And that's the thing. That's why people blame other people, is because they can't accept the decisions that they've made. They can't make peace with the decisions that they've made. If I can blame my father for the way that I am, then I get to excuse myself for having hurt other people. But if I take ownership for the way that I am, one, I have to admit that I've made not awesome decisions, that I've controlled, I've manipulated, I've cut people down with my words. I have to own that. But by owning that, it owns that I also now get to choose that I get to behave and respond differently. People who blame other people for how they are cannot make peace with themselves. And they need someone else to take the blame of their actions. If I can blame my dad for how I was, it means it's not my fault that I've hurt all of these other people. It's my dad's fault. And then I get to be free of it, but not really, because you still did it. Because you're still holding on to the anger of what your dad did to you, instead of taking ownership of your life as it is. I make peace with my past. I make peace with what I've done. I make peace with what I've said. I make peace with the fact that I've cut people down with my words. I make peace with it, because being a human is fucking messy. It's messy as hell. We're multifaceted. We have so many layers to us. We're this multi-dimensional being living in a meat suit, trying to understand the world that we're in with other people's thoughts and opinions controlling us, because again, we have to be part of the group. If we're not, then we're unsafe. There's so many layers to this. And when you own all of your choices, good and bad, it puts you in a position of power like you've never really had before. And I own that power. And that is why people are magnetized to me. That is why people have flooded my page since I made that post to see what the heck is going on. And my inbox has flooded. I've got some people mad at me because of that post. Good. Dig into your trigger. Dig in. I simply reflected back to you a feeling you have inside yourself. Now you get to go clean it up. Now you get to go take care of it. And I hope my words here have been a little bit of honey for you to be able to clean that up and to heal that wound. I wanted to show you what it's like to move with the fear, to proclaim with the fear. I haven't, again, feeling like a fraud has been a feeling I've had occasionally throughout this journey, because I'm not perfect. But I don't ever profess to be perfect. And if I lived under that idea, I would have never done anything that I've done on this journey. I know life is messy. I know humans are messy. I know I have past things and current things in my future, probably decisions that I would not like, that I'm probably may not going to be happy that I make. Like, it's just part of being a human. It's just part of being a human. You know, owning the fact that like I made this huge deal. I was like, oh my God, I met the love of my life. We got engaged in 3 days, married in 3 months. 2 months in, I'm like, fuck, I made a bad decision. How will I ever come back from this? And you know how many more people can relate to me and want to know me more because I accept that story, because I accept that I'm a messy freaking human? More people than you can imagine. The more we own our stories, the more we own who we are, the more we own our past choices and make peace with it, the more self-love we have, the brighter we can shine, the more impact that we can have. I would rather be real and authentic than perfect and polished. And people relate more to people who are real and authentic than polished and perfect. Not to say there's anything wrong with it. I would say Melanie has, if you go back to her earlier videos to like where she is now, you'd be like, holy cow. Holy cow. The difference. She's, and maybe polished and perfect isn't the word, but mastered. We were all thinking it. Well, thanks, Sarah. You're the one who married me. You could have said something. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, if I stirred something in you with that post, look into it, dig into it, and figure out if you're holding yourself back from anything because you feel like you could be a fraud. Where is that fear coming from? Is it generational? Is it because you have decisions in your past you're not in love with? Can you make peace with that? Can you own that? Can you decide that growing and evolving is more important than staying cemented to decisions you made a long time ago that you're not happy with? What's more important to you? What feels better to you? I have learned there is no telling you no. There is no telling me no. I will do what I want, when I want, how I want. I love how raw and real you keep it. Honestly, being recommended to check out the Insurance Exam Queen was the best decision I have ever made. Not to mention the journey continues, but in other ways. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Is that Miranda? Is that how you say that? Miranda. I think so. I hate when I have to say names that I'm not 100% sure of. I don't mean to butcher them. So I love you all. I love you all so much. And I did not mean to scare. I mean, technically, I did. I did want to cause you to have feelings. I do want to cause you to have feelings, and I want you to I want you to own your feelings, and I want you to have more feelings, and I want to spark something within you. I want you to wake up. I want you to ignite your power. I want you to shine a bright ass light, brighter than you've ever shined before. There ain't nothing that dims me, not my own darkness, not other people. There is darkness in my life. There are decisions I've made I don't like. There are people that I've hurt. 100%. But none of that means that I can't be who I am now and own my life now and grow and evolve and be better than I was then. Guys, it's all right. I've got 3 dogs. I got my sister's dog who's like uber protective of me now too. Like they're all like my little pack. So I love you. I love you. I'm okay. I was not hacked, and I wanted to stir something within you, and I have. And I love you. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let you all go. Have an amazing day. And yeah, I will chat soon. Let me know if you have any questions. And I love you. And I'm going to be doing something crazy awesome in December. So stay tuned. It's going to be a December to remember. It is going to be wild. It is going to be epic. And you don't have to pay me any money for it. It's going to be a journey that I go on. All right. Love you all. Have an amazing day. Bye.